Hey y'all, this is Jessica with Bless Your Heart. Let's do a red, white, and blue keychain wristlet today. We're going to start with this motel keychain from Hobby Lobby, a little piece of vinyl that I have cut, and this is the inspiration for this entire thing. This glitter is from the Glitter Bar Company, and it's called Party in America, and that is what I'm drawing on this entire wristlet for. We are going to use some UV resin. We're going to start by placing our vinyl down, and I want this to be as center as possible, so I am using the hinge method. I'm going to press that down real good where I have lifted that vinyl backing from the back, and I'm going to press this out with my finger all the way around and get it good and adhered. There is a little lip all the way around the inside of this little keychain here, so I'm going in with my fingernail and just pressing that in as best I can. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut just along the inside line of this entire plastic keychain, and then I'm going to move on to the next step. The original page of vinyl from where this is cut off of is from the Glitter Guy. I do not remember the name of it, but this is just one of the few little pieces that I had left over from cutting something from a huge sheet. So this goes to show you, you can do little bitty projects with those scrap pieces that you think maybe should just be thrown away. Once I've removed all of that excess vinyl, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my UV resin and just kind of seal this piece of vinyl in. I don't want this lifting anywhere, and I am done with this side of the keychain. So we're going to get this spread out. I'm going to pop any bubbles with my barbecue lighter, and I'm going to put it under my UV lamp, and I end up curing these for about 5 minutes a piece until they are no longer tacky to the touch. Now I do have enough UV resin in this to kind of go up a little bit of that inside lip because I don't want this vinyl moving at all, and I don't want to do another layer of UV resin on this side. So I'm trying to get it as smooth as possible, and once you hit it with your little lighter, it does kind of smooth out on its own. It is very self-leveling, but there is enough UV resin in this little piece of the keychain here to be done after this cures. Once this is all nice and cured, you're going to have that glass-like finish, and you are done with this side. So we're going to flip it over to the other side, and that's where we're going to fill in that little reservoir with some glitter. I'm just going to put a little bit of UV resin in the bottom of my medicine cup. I'm going to put some glitter in there. I end up putting a little too much glitter, and that's okay. Just add a little bit more resin to it. Stir that up, get that all nice and smoothed out in this little reservoir. I do hit this also with my barbecue lighter to pop any bubbles. And this one ends up curing again for about 5 minutes until it is no longer tacky to the touch. You can tell that there is way too much glitter to my UV resin because it is balling up in my little medicine cup. And when that happens, you need to add some more resin to your mixture. It is going to not cure correctly if it is too thick, and then you can't really see the prettiness of all of that glitter if there is way too much glitter to your resin. One of the main things that you really want to pay attention to when you're doing this type of keychain is you don't want to overfill any section. It's going to bubble out of the side. You're going to end up with like a bump, or or that lip is going to be kind of rough. So I do end up going in and removing some of this resin and glitter mixture just because it's too full. Because we want to go over it another time with one last layer of UV resin to get that nice glassy finish. So you do want to be mindful of the amount that you're putting in the first time, because you do want to put a sealing coat to give you that nice glossy finish, but you don't want to overfill it because then it's going to feel weird in your hands. Once I've cured this side for about 5 minutes, you're going to see here that this is a horrible shot, but it's nice and full and that glitter is set. So I'm going to do one more coat of this UV resin over this, and I'm going to kind of dome up ever so slightly. I personally do not like to feel it in my hands where there's all these raised pieces over all of it. That's just my preference. You do what works for you. But I'm going to evenly try to smooth this all out. I'm going to hit it again with my barbecue lighter to pop any of those bubbles. And I end up curing this for another 5 minutes. And then we're going to move on to the next step. Once both sides are nice and cured and nice and glossy, check out your handiwork and let's get ready to do the wristlet. Now I have just got a collection of red, white, and blue beads here. I have got some cordage. I have got some yarn needles, and that's what I actually use to pull the cording through the bubblegum beads. I'm going to pull out way too much cording, and that's okay. That's my preference. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to burn those ends, and that's just going to help to keep them from fraying. Now yarn needles, I just got this at Hobby Lobby and I keep these on hand always to do these little wristlets. They have a huge eye that you can put this cording through. So it's easier to deal with in my opinion, and you don't have to worry about pulling so many beads through that long thing all at once. I don't even know what it's called. But I follow my pattern that I have already laid out, and these are just bubblegum beads from Hobby Lobby. That's it. There's nothing special about them. I just wanted a lot of texture, a lot of movement, and it was actually hard to find red, white, and blue beads by themselves. But look at us killing it now. So I'm going to follow this pattern that I have already laid out, and then I'm going to check out my handiwork as I move on to the next step. Pro tip, you want to make sure that you put your actual keychain thingy on before you tie your wristlet up, because it's kind of a pain in the hiney to put it all together after you've got your knots on there, and you run the risk of either fraying your cording or just breaking it all together. So this was going to end up being massive. So I pull off 3 beads to keep my pattern the exact same. And then I go in with my first knot. Is just going to be your basic square knot where we go over one time and we pull it. And I am pulling this as tight as I can to the point that I almost think I'm going to break it. I don't break it, but I'm pulling it as tight as I can. And once I get it as tight as it possibly is and those beads aren't moving anywhere, then I go in and do a surgeon's knot. And that is where you start out with the square knot, but you do it twice over. One time, 2 times, and then you pull it again as tight as possible. And then after this knot, I go in and do another basic square knot, cut the excess tails off, hit them with my barbecue lighter again to keep them from fraying, and then we're going to see what we have. And here we go. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.